Get this. Weekday mornings from 9 on Triple M.
Fifi Box is sitting in today. Congratulations on your TV work last night.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know about that.
It was great. They threw you in first.
I know.
Thank God you're here.
I couldn't actually watch it. I couldn't bear it because for me it was, I tried to watch it, but it was like jumping off a cliff for me.
Right.
And watching myself flounder and flail all around like a fish out of water is just unbearable.
Someone at Channel 10 is writing, Fifi Box jumping off a cliff. That could be a series.
10 weeks in that.
Hey, what was your catchphrase that you came up with for the weight loss product?
If you think you can do it, you can.
Oh, give her a round for that. Superb.
But and to be with such an amazing cast of people, though, Frank Woodley, Angus Sampson, Pete Roselawn, I mean, comic geniuses, and they were so brilliant.
Oh, no, it was all gold. Are you going back for more?
Yeah, back next week.
I have to say, if I was listening to this show this week, I'd be going, what is the thing that you have to have been on, thank God you're here, to be a guest on Get This? But it is just a complete coincidence. Even Ed is in the show.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Ed. Wait till he's coming up in next week.
Yeah. He's worried about drawing attention to himself because it's not about the ensemble cast and he doesn't want to. Yeah. But I loved your performance as the mayor.
It's a part I was elected to play.
It's hard for him not to stand out because he's 6'5" and he's a very handsome boy.
Well, a lot of people have been, calling in about which one was he on the show last night. And then there's an article in the Green Guide in Melbourne which has a photo of Ed looking very handsome today. Have a look at what they've said because this article was in the Sydney Morning Herald earlier in the week.
Oh, yeah.
And then they've rerun it. And sometimes they'll just change one bit.
Yes.
This is something I did not say. I said that I found out that Ed happened to work at Triple M with the Black Thunders. Mm-hmm. But they've changed it to with the Black Thunder Cars. Who would say that? The Black Thunder Cars. Yeah, the Black Thunder Cars are out and about. It's like a Jerry Anderson series.
Well, I had a friend of mine she's a journalist and she's just starting out and she got an article published in one of those kind of men's magazines, Men's Monthly kind of swimsuit girl magazines.
Yes.
But it was about women in politics. And so she wrote this quite serious interview with these women in politics, and they put this big banner across the top that said, "Hot women in politics."
There you go. When breasts go bust. It's one of those. Now, Fifi, look, obviously, in most states, people know you for your work with the shebang, and it does feel a bit like you're cheating on Marty being here, doesn't it?
It does. He doesn't know I'm here.
Right.
I couldn't tell him. And he doesn't listen to the radio. In fact, he's not even up, so he'll have no idea. But it does. It's quite exciting for me. And I was thinking that this morning when I got up, it did feel a little bit like I was having an affair.
Okay, now... The program's steaming up. You said to me the other day that you've never been interviewed.
No, I have never, interviewed hundreds of people.
Right.
I've never been interviewed, and it's quite nerve-wracking. I was more nervous about coming on this show today than about actually watching Thank God You're Here last night. Really? I was distracted.
Why is that?
Because I don't know... I'm not that interesting, and I feel like I'm quite a fraud, and that if people actually start asking questions, the listeners might go, yeah, why does she have a job?
Well, let's see if we can expose the fraud, reveal the sham that is Fifi Box. I read in your bio, I think it's on the website, something about you decided to get into radio after you were in a coma or something in hospital. What was that about?
I had my appendix burst, and I was in hospital. I was in second year arts. I know that was a performing arts course, a variation. Right. And I was in hospital, and I remember when my appendix burst thinking, oh, thank goodness, because my thesis was like about 3 weeks late. This is a great excuse.
Fantastic.
And I remember my parents came in, because I remember saying, Mum, you've got to go and call the lecturers and let them know this grave thing's happened in my life. And she came in one afternoon with my dad and went, well, I spoke to them and they said, it doesn't matter, you're failing because you never turned up anyway. And they said, now what are you going to do? This is, you're 20, come on, pull your finger out. And then they brought in a course guide. and I literally flicked it open because I was, nearly comatose from having major surgery. And it just flicked open to the radio page. Right. And my mum literally started filling in forms to send off to Swinburne University for me to do radio.
So the idea was I have no skills whatsoever. I guess that just leaves radio announcing.
Exactly. That's what it came down to.
And what was your first radio job? Was it the shebang?
No, gosh, no. Well, I did this radio course, and at the end of it, they billet you out to country radio stations. So my first radio job was 3TR Terralgan.
Right. Where's Terralgan?
Fifi. Terralgan's about 3 hours west of Melbourne. East of Melbourne. Yeah, Gippsland. I creeped a little bit closer to Warrigal.
Right.
Feeling good, 3GG, Fifi here.
And what was the big promotion in Traralgon? Like, what was like a big deal on the radio show in Traralgon?
A big deal was win a date with Fifi Box.
Oh.
And I actually ended up, the hilarious thing was this promotion was about 2 weeks. I ended up going to a restaurant, Banjo Bill's Australian-themed restaurant in Traralgon, and I turned up and there was this guy there and he was a sort of a big muscle-bound bodybuilder, and it suddenly occurred to me, where are the promotional staff? In fact, where is any staff? I could be here with an axe murderer. They sent me on a date with no security or anything.
It was just the station manager with a false moustache on. Do you just do this on your program? Get out the women's mags and see what's going on?
I do. In fact, that's what I do during the show. I'm supposed
right.
to be, I think, working, but I'd much rather flick through a magazine.
I love the new weekly. I have to say, if you're in a dentist waiting room, I always go for the new weekly. That's the juiciest
It's
one.
the most digestible, I find.
But do you find the constant use of the phrase insiders and sources is fascinating?
Yeah.
Because there's news today that Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt have broken up. Have you read that?
No.
Yes, I couldn't see that coming.
No.
But in the New Weekly, they've got supposedly an article about Jennifer Aniston. Listen to this. Insiders, right? So you've got some insiders right away.
Yes.
So some people who know them and who are willing to go to the press and reveal everything. Insiders say a bitter Jennifer laughed when she heard that the woman Brad left has broken his heart. And then there's a quote. Jen can't help but feel a little satisfaction knowing that Brad and Ange have been fighting, says a pal.
Oh, she's a pal.
Foul.
So we got the insiders and now there's a pal on board. Someone who's a good pal who's revealed an exact quote.
Reputable sources are onto this.
Then we've got sources. So they now join the insiders and the pal.
Are they closer than a pal? Oh, where do they sit?
I think they're
Pal's closest. Then
pals, but they're closer than the insiders.
Yeah.
Not as close as the pal.
fair
I think
enough.
so. Sources say Jennifer was unable to hide the pleasure on her face when word got back to her that Brad's once perfect union with Angelina Jolie is beginning to crack. Jen's too cool to say out loud that it serves that idiot right. Reveals an insider. Now, I'm not sure if that's one of the original insiders or the pal or the source.
that's a new one.
It just could be a different insider. But her smirk said it all. Pal said her suspicions were heightened by Ange's pregnancy, with the conception reportedly happening before Jen's divorce from Brad was finalised. Another source.
Yeah.
So that's in addition to the sources, the insiders,
Yep.
the pal, the other insider, and the other pal.
Yep.
So we're up to 6.
Another source close to Jennifer says the actress hasn't bothered to hide her glee when talking about how miserable Angelina has made Brad in recent weeks. Jen feels like Brad is finally getting exactly what he deserved. He ditched his marriage and moved on to a fling with Angelina, says a friend.
Oh,
So in addition to the insider's sources, pals, the other pal, the other source, and the other insider, we now have a friend.
And I trust the friend the most.
yeah, same.
You would have friends and pals. Are they going to just go running off to a mag whenever you do something idiotic?
I don't think so. And the other thing is, all we ever hear is how Jennifer's now a hermit and she doesn't socialise and she barely leaves her house. How are these people even meeting up with her?
And they've all just got dictaphones and they're just transcribing everything she said. For example, it serves that idiot right.
I know.
But is that a quote from Jen, or is the friend saying Jen would say this?
No, that's not the friend, it's the pal.
Oh, sorry, the pal.
The
Sorry,
pal
friend, if
is
you're
saying
listening.
that this is exactly, that would be libelous.
Sorry.
You see, if you said it was the friend.
And the best thing is the actual, not only the quotes, the wicked laugh. I mean, to actually say there was a wicked laugh.
Serves that idiot right. But I just love this kind of stuff. And here we've got, you probably saw the story about Naomi Campbell allegedly piffing a phone at them because it's supposedly self-inflicted.
I know.
Wound to the back of the head.
But you know what I loved, and you can see in the photo there, Toad,
Yeah.
they've got a photo of the woman's uniform, the maid's uniform, with the blood all over it.
Yeah.
But on the uniform, apparently Naomi makes them wear Miss Campbell.
Miss Campbell.
Embroidered onto the lapel.
So do you think that's just down at the NW offices?
Yeah.
They've gone, we need something to back this up. Go and get a dressing gown.
Who can sew? Who can sew?
And we need to embroider something on. What will we put? Assistant to Miss Campbell?
No, too long.
That's too contrived. They'll never believe that. Just put Miss Campbell.
Good.
So maybe that's why she got the phone to the back of the head. She's wearing Naomi Campbell's robe. I just love this stuff.
I know, it's great. I don't actually read it. I just love the pictures tell a story.
Yeah, they do. What I love is that you seem to have read all of this before we've got to it.
I know, and you didn't even warn me this was coming up. I've actually done research and I didn't even know it.
Well done. Look, there's a lot of reasons to visit the Triple M website. You can, of course, go to the Get This page and send us an abusive missive. Do you get wacky emails? Oh.
We do. We get wonderful emails. We get some constructive criticism too. I think that's important.
Have a listen to, this is an email that I've received here from Brian Crouch of Sydney, and he goes, Tony, you've been back on air 3 days and not one fart joke.
Oh.
What's that about? Too big for fart jokes now that you've got your own show? I mean, I hadn't considered that because I was Barjas, you know.
Yeah, I know you were.
And there hasn't been a single fart joke. Do you think we can rectify that, Beer?
My message to the people of West Papua is simply this. That's my message to them.
Are you happy now? Are you happy, Brian Crouch of Sydney?
Oh, it's coming up a level from where I'm usually at.
What's on your show? It's fascinating. It's sort of an abusive relationship, really, that you have with Marty to some extent, isn't it?
It is. I really feel like a battered wife in it.
Wow.
I really, honestly, I do start to think I am hopeless and I am stupid, and it's quite debilitating at times.
He drags members of your family into the program, I notice.
He does. He got my mum on it. My mum would love the chance to be on radio. In fact, she's so disappointed in me because she really, occasionally she'll say to me, like a Christmas lunch, she went, I just saw you going in the path of Yana Vent, maybe, or Tracy Curo. And so I'm an utter disappointment. And I was sick a few weeks ago, and he rang my mum and got her on air. Right. And mum's just, I think I was really good, and I think I thought maybe I could go in and fill in for you tomorrow.
And do you think that's going to happen?
No, it's not. But she actually thinks she should do the Triple M News. She'd like to sit down with Dave Smith, our program director, and possibly come and do the news.
I tuned into your show the other day, and I came in the middle of a song. And it was Augie March.
Yes.
And I go, what does Augie March do? I mean, I love Augie March. Yeah. I mean, that's not your traditional Triple M fare. And I'm going, obviously, the Foreigner CD must have been misplaced and they've just grabbed whatever's on the top of the pile. But is your brother?
Yes, it's nepotism at its best.
Your brother's in Augie March?
Yes, my brother's actually in Augie March. And Augie March are a really good band.
Yeah.
And I didn't actually even realise this myself because I'm not.
You've just assumed they're crap.
Yeah, well, I just assumed it's my brother's doing whatever.
Right.
I've never been to see them play or been to see him. And suddenly people at work are going, hey, we just got the new Augie March CD. That goes off. And I thought, well, what better forum for me to hear it than have him on the show playing it?
But they're like often in, there'll be top 10 albums of the year and they'll be number 4 or something like. What's the new album called?
Moo You Bloody Choir.
Yeah,
and the new single, One Crowded Out, it debuted in the ARIA charts in the top 10. And that's, for me, my brother and I are close in a way.
Right.
Like we catch up at Christmas time. And I was in the office and I get the emails of, the ARIA charts, whatever, and I went, oh my God, my brother's just gone top 10. Must give him a call.
Wow. So it's the whole family's in show business now, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and my other brother Cameron's an actor, so we've all, it's sort of a lack of direction going to the entertainment industry.
Well, thanks for joining us today. Now, we've got to do some business here. It's time to get out and about and see what's happening on the streets. And I should warn you that the language does turn a tad fruity in case Fifi's mum is tuning in.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's time to cross to our correspondent on the streets. It's Tony Martin. Well, the International Comedy Festival is about to kick off in Melbourne, and I'm sitting across the road from the very first pub in which I ever saw live comedy when I first moved to Australia over 20 years ago, the Dick Whittington Tavern in East St Kilda. And, it's been through a lot of changes of ownership over the years, a lot of changes of name. It was originally the Dick Whittington, then it was shortened to the Dick Whit. And now, once again, all the signage has been redone. It's simply known as The Dick. And that looks great, except there's one particular bit of signage which has caught my eye, and I'd just like to see what the locals think of it. Here comes someone now. Let's see what they've got to say. Oh, excuse me, madam. I know you're just about to make a call. Are you a local round here?
I am, yeah.
What does that sign say to you?
The Dick.
And then followed by?
Liquor, sorry.
And so the end result would be?
The Dick Liquor.
Is that something you really want? on the front of a business in your neighbourhood.
Yeah, that's not too bad. It's not a bad name, really.
So you're quite happy to have the Dick Liquor on the
Yeah.
front of a business.
Yeah.
Excuse me, gents. I'm from Triple M. Are you the manager here?
Yeah, I am one of the co-owners, yeah.
Would it be possible for you to just step out the front for a moment?
Yeah, surely.
I just want to show you something that I'm not sure if you're aware of this.
I'm aware of everything.
What's going on with your sign up here?
It's lovely, isn't it?
It is.
It just says, bottle shop.
But it does appear to say the Dick Liquor.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't at all. It might to you, but it certainly doesn't to me. And, I'd hate to think that you were spruiking off...
I've not spruiked off for years, sir.
Inciting people and looking for their reaction when it clearly says the Dick Whittington Tavern.
But if you stand across the road, it just says the Dick Liquor.
Oh, no, not to me it doesn't.
Are you sure about that?
Oh, positive.
You don't want to go over and have a look?
No, what's the difference? Why across the road as opposed to here? You can read, I can read. What's the difference because across the road? 2 sets of tram lines.
It's funny because everyone I've asked to read that sign out to me has called it the Dick Liquor.
Oh, how lovely. How lovely.
Do you think that the sign is actually bringing more business?
Well, you never know. It's an intangible thing and it's not designed to, as you're suggesting, to perhaps bring more business. It's certainly freshened the look of the hotel up and from that point of view...
it's a good thing.
It's a good thing.
Well done.
Thank you.
We'll certainly be giving your business a plug on the show.
The meals are super.
It's
very consistent.
I'm a huge fan of the Dick and I do come here for the liquor. Look, I don't want to tell you this, but I think you might be losing a bit of business to the sucker just down the road.
Get this. Weekday mornings from 9 on Triple M.